Bonjour tout le monde et bienvenue sur ma chaîne. Alors, aujourd'hui, nous allons parler des difficultés avec la langue française et je vais vous donner quelques trucs pour surmonter ces difficultés. Alors, commençons. La première chose, c'est... Or maybe I should talk about this in English. I'm not sure. I think I'll do this video half in French, half in English to help you guys who are learning French. Alors, la première chose, nous allons parler de faux amis. Les faux amis. C'est vrai qu'il y a beaucoup de mots en français qui sont très similaires, presque les mêmes en anglais, mais il y a des différences. Alors, par exemple, une bande et a band. Alors, une bande n'est pas un groupe de personnes, oui, qui chantent ou qui sont très musicales, mais une bande, c'est une gang en français, non, en anglais. And a band in English is, yes, the group of musical people, so musicians. A band, une bande is a gang. So, there you go. Un bras and a bra. Alors, a bra is what a woman has on and un bras is this thing here. Et en français, so it is your arm. Alors, décevoir et to deceive n'est pas le même mot. Alors, attention. Décevoir quelqu'un en anglais, c'est to disappoint someone. And décevoir is to deceive. So it's almost similar but not quite the same thing. And une intoxication and an intoxication. So to be intoxicated in English is to be drunk. So you've had one too many beers, wines, some lovely French wines. So you're, intoxicated. And une intoxication en français, c'est poisoning. So watch out for that one. Une intoxication alimentaire is if you have food poisoning, you've eaten some, not so good kebabs from a not so good restaurant. That's your intoxication en français. Une lunatique and a lunatic, also not the same thing. Un lunatic is someone who is moody. So if you have mood swings, you're un lunatique. And I don't know, maybe you might become like a lunatic, but it's not the same word in English. A lunatic is, a crazy person en anglais. Et le dernier mot, this one I swear is one that even I always used to get confused, and it is the word regarder. Regarder and to regard something in English. So, regarder is what you're doing right now with my YouTube video. You are watching it. You are watching something. So, it's regarder quelque chose. And to regard something in English is kind of like to pay attention to it. So in French we would say considérer. So I'm gonna pay regards to something, or I'm gonna consider this thing. That's your last faux ami. So the next thing. Tout à l'heure, je me souviens de mon cours à l'université, alors mon cours de français. À l'université, c'était toujours comme ça. Chaque année où nous avons appris les mots du et à, j'étais confusée. J'étais simplement confusée parce que il y a des verbes où on emploie le mot de et toujours de, et il y a des verbes où on emploie le mot à et c'est toujours le mot à. Par exemple, parler de quelque chose, mais par exemple se préparer à faire quelque chose, recommencer à faire quelque chose, s'amuser à faire quelque chose, etc. So, those are your de and a verbs that were always just one of those things that you had to learn. Alors, comment ça s'écrit? Tell me, how do you spell the following words? Are you ready? Est-ce que vous êtes prête? C. Yes, people, these are 6 different words. C is pronounced the same, but this is how you write all of them. They're all pronounced the same, and there is no wonder that listening comprehensions in French are some of the most difficult things to do, especially once you're a beginner, or actually at any point in time when you're learning the language. I mean, I remember every Monday in French class at university, we would have dictations, and I think there was never a time, maybe there was one time where I really got everything right, but I think even at that time I got like an accent wrong. But it's not easy. It is not easy. C'est pas facile. So now we come to the next thing. And the next point is le subjonctif. Alors, le subjonctif, the subjunctive, is actually in essence, it's not that difficult. Learning the forms of the subjunctive is really easy. It's when you have to use a subjunctive that just sometimes doesn't make any sense at all. For example, on emploie le subjonctif avec des mots ou des phrases particulières. Par exemple, quand je veux utiliser la phrase « il faut », I have to use a subjunctive. Il faut que j'aille en centre-ville, par exemple. And then the tricky ones are the ones that are like reflexive and non-reflexive. So, il semble, il me semble, il ne me semble. So there are all these rules I highly advise for you French learners. Really, when you learn them, just try and use them as much as possible. Come up with as many examples as possible. It's going to make your life so much easier. So, for example, il me semble que vous savez utiliser le subjonctif. Il ne me semble pas que vous sachiez utiliser le subjonctif. And the final one, te semble-t-il qu'il sache comment utiliser le subjonctif? Alors, et finalement, l'emploi du passé composé et l'imparfait. Passé composé et l'imparfait, trust me, when you first start learning, you think, oh, easy piece of cake, un morceau de gâteau. Actually, I don't think we say this in French, but anyway. Le passé composé, l'imparfait. The best thing ever was when my teacher gave us some really good rules to remember. So I'm gonna tell you those rules because I want to help you guys out learning French. So first of all, l'imparfait. L'imparfait, I always remembered using the imperfect. It's for habitual actions in the past. So usually it's used with weather when you're describing the weather, when you're describing people, like characteristics, and the environment around you. So that's why you find in lots of storybooks, especially when they're like giving an introduction, that a lot of it is going to be in l'imparfait. So also when two activities are happening in the past continuously, that's your imparfait. And for habitual actions, so when something was repeatedly done in the past, like let's say every Monday you went to dance class, that's your imparfait as well. Whereas the passé composé, as you can imagine, is kind of the opposite. So first of all, you use it when you're describing an action in the past that was completed and it only happened once. Then you use the passé composé when there is an activity happening and suddenly another activity happens. And when there are two activities happening one after the other, you use your passé composé. So guys, those were the top 5 difficultés avec la langue française. I think I also forgot to mention adjectives, but adjectives are also like a tricky thing. But those were just my top 5. If you are learning French, please let me know in the comments below. What do you find super difficult about the French language? What do you love about the French language? Why have you decided to learn it? Or is it a language that you would like to learn? Let me know down below. And otherwise, make sure to like this video, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe to ma chaîne for more great language learning tips. And I will see you guys in my next video. Alors, à la prochaine!